Welcome back to The Flower of Freedom by Deborah J. Reeves. We're closing in on the last 5 chapters, and we invite you to stay until the end and beyond when we begin the second book of this trilogy. This I call the Freedom Series. We invite you to take your seat and to contemplate as you listen how you might start your own virtuous cycle. Here we go for chapter 179, Internment. Father Joe was happy to speak with Detective Sergeant Richard. Ramon had been an altar boy when Father Joe was a young priest, and the father had always believed that Ramon would do something noble. He had not foreseen his meteoric rise within the RCMP, though. Many of the young officers who attended Mass at the Basilica looked up to him, and they told Father Joe stories of Ramon's fearlessness and heroism. They confided that he was unlike any of their other supervisor. "He's the real deal," one of them had said after a game of basketball that the father organized for the young men of the diocese who had no father figures. Ramon had no relatives in policing. His father, Patrick Richard, had been a baker, and his mother had been a house cleaner. They both had strong faith, and they were dedicated to their son, who was quite an athlete. Everyone thought that he might pursue a career in professional hockey, but Ramon had his sights set on another goal. After his parents were killed in a hit-and-run car accident when Ramon was 17, Ramon had decided to put hockey aside and to join the police service. It was the Father Joe himself who had taken Ramon in for 6 months until he turned 18, so that he did not have to go into foster care. It was during that time that Ramon had first mentioned his aspirations. Father Joe had asked if he had considered the RCMP, and Ramon had replied that he did not know how to ride a horse. By the time they had gone to the library to learn about what was involved in becoming a Mountie, Ramon had made up his mind to apply. Now, all these years later, Ramon knocked on the door of the rectory. Father Joe thought of Ramon as the son he might have had if his life had taken another course. After the father and Ramon settled in, and after the father learned about Ramon's son Rocket, his first day in training camp, and after he got the lowdown on the Canadiens' prospects for the coming year, they got around to the reason Ramon had arrived at the rectory door. Ramon filled him in on what had transpired with the war criminal Hans Schmidt. The father knew about the injuries to Marie and Bertie Saint-Laurent. He knew that Philippe Departout, Marie's fiancé, was dead. In fact, Oscar had called to see if he would conduct the funeral mass. He even knew that Colette had been the victim of Hans Schmidt, and that he might be Bertie's biological father. What he did not know was that the war criminal had followed Bertie's errant wife from Argentina, and that he had ended up dead in the river shortly after Bertie and Marie were injured. "Was he murdered? Who killed him?" asked Father Joe. "No one knows for sure, but we suspect Mossad Nazi hunters followed him from Argentina. A lot of people have been keeping track of him for a very long time, but he was untouchable in Argentina. He had a lot of high-ranking people who were covering for him there." "So I assume there's something that I can do to help you, Ramon. What is it?" Ramon sucked in a draught of air, and he said, "Father Joe, I've got a tricky problem. This wasn't just any old war criminal. He was known as the Monster of Paris, and he's famous for a reign of terror around the world. I have even run into interrogators on the RCMP service who take pride in imitating his tactics during interrogations. Not the physical brutality, but they employ the psychological manipulations that he was known to employ. I spoke to a general in the military of Argentina, and they don't want his body back. They said that they did not want to become a sort of pilgrimage for weirdos who glorify people like that. He made sense on that point. I hadn't considered it, but it's true. Cemeteries are now having to take extra measures when famous people are interred, and even more precautions when a famous person is known for doing horrible things. The graves of some mass murderers get turned into midnight carnival sites by some strange people. Are we speaking about burying the man here in Canada? Where's the body right now? He's in the hospital morgue in Quebec City. The town doesn't have a police morgue, so the local police put a tag and a seal on one of the drawers at the hospital. I have to make a decision soon about what to do with it, because they were supposed to get a call about where to send the body. How did you get stuck with this task? My supervisors tell me that I get paid to solve problems, and this kind of problem no one wants. So no one's about to swoop in and take it over from me. That only leaves me. What I want to know is if I can just build a bonfire in a field and give him an instant cremation. I don't think it's likely that he was a Catholic in good standing or anything. No, Ramon, we have to do this properly. No field fires. No cremation at all. If he was that sort of human devil, it might thaw out his inky black soul and restart his engine. Father Joe said with a wink. No, I can call my friend who works at the Basilica in Quebec City. He'll assist us. You're not seriously thinking of burying this monster in hallowed ground, are you? I know that you priests are supposed to be forgiving types, but come on, that's a bit too much. There's no such thing as too much forgiveness or grace, Raymond. But no, Father Francis is a practical guy like I am. They have a potter's field there too. But I just had a thought. This is actually Bertie's biological father. Should we consult him first? You're the one who's supposed to be the expert in compassion. He just found out about Hans, and he just got out of a coma. Wouldn't that be cruel to the whole family? I thought we should just shoulder this and take it off their plate. They have too much to deal with as it is. Potter's Field it is then, Father Joe said, with a nod. I'll call Francis. I'll let you know when he can do it. I'll let you know the date and the time, and I'll go with you. I should go and consult with Oscar and Colette anyway. You can give me a ride to Quebec City. That's the end of chapter 179 of The Flower of Freedom. We have just a few chapters left. We hope you'll come and join us for them. And we hope you'll give us a thumbs up and a like so that more people can share in our project of planting virtuous seeds. I remain your friend Deborah. Bye-bye.